In this video, let us take a look into the purchase order statuses and how the existing two statuses are merged into a single status in the revamp. In the existing page, we have purchase order status and vendor PO status. Under the purchase order status, we can see pending approval, declined, approved, in progress, fulfilled, closed, and canceled statuses. Under the vendor PO status, we can see pending, accepted, and declined statuses, in addition to the partially fulfilled and fulfilled statuses, which are visible when you open a purchase order. Vendor PO statuses are only applicable for the contract-managed purchase orders, and they will be set only when a purchase order is approved or once it is marked in progress, fulfilled, and closed. Now let us take a look into the new purchase order statuses. So we have incomplete, pending, pending approval, approved, declined, in progress, fulfilled, closed, and canceled statuses. In this update, incomplete and pending approval are new statuses, while the other statuses are already available. With the incomplete status, the user will be able to create an incomplete purchase order without any validation. They will be able to fill in some information and save it as incomplete so that later they can continue to create the purchase order. The pending status functions similarly to the old pending approval status. The purchase order is saved with validation, but has not yet been sent to the vendor. For contract-managed purchase orders requiring internal review, the status will be pending. Pending approval is a new status. A purchase order will be set to pending approval when the purchase order is sent to the vendor for approval. This is only applicable for the contract-managed purchase orders. The approved status is applied when a purchase order is approved or when a non-contract managed purchase order is internally reviewed. The declined status is applied when the reviewer or vendor declines the purchase order. The in-progress status can be manually set by the user once the purchase order is approved, or it will be automatically set when a bill is created for the purchase order. The fulfilled status is applied when all items on the purchase order are billed, or the user can manually mark it as fulfilled if they have the required permission. We also have the closed status, which users can manually set. Similarly, users can manually set the canceled status. Now, the status merge is straightforward for the non-contract managed purchase orders. There is only a difference when it is a contract managed purchase order, which historically used the vendor PO statuses. Let's look at the updated purchase order statuses, including the new incomplete and pending approval statuses. The status flow begins when the purchase order is created. It will be in pending status if internal review or vendor approval is required. It then moves to pending approval if the purchase order is sent for vendor approval. Following this, it becomes approved or declined, depending on the outcome of the approval process. If approved, the user can move it to in progress, then to fulfilled, and finally to closed or canceled. The purchase order can also be canceled in between any of these statuses based on certain criteria. For non-contract managed purchase orders, all statuses except pending approval are applicable for setting the purchase order status. Let's review how the statuses are changing for the contract managed purchase orders. Previously, after a purchase order was approved, the vendor PO status would be pending if vendor approval was required and not yet received. Now, this can be in two statuses, pending or pending approval. It will be pending if the purchase order is created, but has not yet been sent for vendor approval. Once the purchase order is sent to the vendor for approval, the status will update to pending approval. The former accepted status has been changed to approved status. This is set when the vendor accepts the purchase order from the vendor portal. Prior to this update, the vendor PO status was accepted, and the purchase order status was in progress by default. This has changed so that the status is set to approved by default. Once it is approved, the user can manually change it to in progress. The old partially fulfilled status has been updated to the new in progress status. This change applies to purchase orders that were previously marked as partially fulfilled after corresponding bills were created. Those purchase orders will now display as in progress. The remaining statuses, fulfilled and declined, will remain the same. Now let's see how a user can change a status on a purchase order. Out of all these statuses, the incomplete, pending approval, and decline statuses can only be set automatically when the user takes an action. They cannot be manually set. The remaining statuses can be manually set under certain conditions. The pending status is automatically set when a purchase order is created. A user can also manually set it if the existing status is declined. The approved status is automatically set when the purchase order is approved or internally reviewed. A purchase order can also be manually set to approved status if it was previously set as approved and the current status is in progress, fulfilled, or closed. The in progress status can be manually applied to a purchase order that is currently set as approved. The in progress status is also set automatically when a bill is created for the purchase order. Additionally, users can revert a purchase order to in progress from closed, canceled, or fulfilled if the purchase order had previously been marked as in progress before moving to one of those final statuses. The fulfilled status is automatically set when all line items on the purchase order are billed. It can also be manually set if the purchase order is in approved or in progress statuses. The closed status can be manually set if the purchase order is in approved, in progress, or fulfilled statuses. Finally, the canceled status can be manually set if the purchase order is in incomplete, pending, pending approval, approved, or in progress status. There are two places where you can change the status of a purchase order. From the Purchase Order List page, under the Status column, the status is a link. When you click on it, it shows the applicable statuses available for that user, based on their permission and the current status. For example, if I click on an approved status, it shows I can change it to in progress, fulfilled, closed, or canceled. Similarly, if I open an in progress status, it shows the statuses I can set it to. From within a purchase order, when you open a purchase order, you will see the status field on the right side. It shows the current status along with a button to change the status. When you click on it, similar to the list page, it shows the list of statuses available for this user to update based on their permissions and the current status.